How's it going, Martians? This is Jade, back with another Martian report. And in this one, we're going to be talking about why XRP has been in a bear trend for the last 18 months, over 18 months now. And the short answer is, well, because of you, XRP investor, because of you. And let me be clear what I mean by that. I am not talking to the individuals who are regular investors in the market who are dollar cost averaging into XRP, which means that if you are dollar cost averaging into a market, you are buying on a regular basis small incremental amounts of XRP or whatever you're investing in. And so this video is being it was triggered when I was thinking last night about, how could we as a community test Shane-Ellis Theory and find out whether or not just a small amount of money really could cause XRP's price to skyrocket. And I had an epiphany. If even 1 out of 10 XRP investors were buying XRP at an average of $50 a week, it would only take about a year for that community at XRP's current price range that it's been moving at for the last year, which is about 30 cents, to buy up nearly 20 billion of the XRP supply, which is more XRP than is actually in retail circulation. So what that means is, as I said at the beginning, it's our fault XRP's price is going down. So this video is a call to action. If you want to see XRP succeed, you want this market to be successful, stop sitting around complaining about the fact that the price is under $1 and start investing a regular, consistent amount into XRP. And to help motivate our community, I've set up a Telegram group for us called the XRP DCA Club. And this is a dollar cost averaging group where we encourage would-be bulls to join us and to talk about your plan for how you are intending to increase your position in XRP and help limit the circulating supply by removing your XRP from the exchanges and putting it into a cold wallet in a cold storage. And also encouraging people to escrow their XRP so that we as individuals cannot be tempted by our emotions to liquidate our supply when the market starts to turn around, which will create a positive feedback loop in the price, causing the price to rise. Now, obviously, this is in some ways pie in the sky hopes, as it would require a higher degree of cooperation amongst the XRP community than is common in traditional markets. Obviously there's always going to be somebody who wants to sell or needs to sell for some reason, whether it's just for greed or you actually just need the funds because you're broke or whatever. So, but the idea is simple as that. There's only 100 billion XRP. That means that it would only, at a current price of about 26 cents, it would only cost $250 or $25 billion for us to buy out the entire supply. 26 billion to buy out the entire supply if it were available, right? Now, obviously, we can't. If we did put that kind of money in, the price would skyrocket. However, is that not what everybody wants? The price to skyrocket? So, I've been engaging with a lot of people in my comments, talking to people who are just really down on the price, that they're just negative about the fact that the price is below $1. And many of these people have bought into XRP in 2017 during the bull run. and they're just sitting around waiting for the price to return to that range, and they sit around in comment sections and complain that they've lost money. I, as somebody who has dollar cost averaged in the XRP since literally just a whole year ago is when I started dollar cost averaging in XRP, and I am at a net positive at 25.9 cents. How does that happen when the price has by and large been so high? It's only been in this price range a few times, right? So how is it that I'm at a net positive? Because every time the price went below my average entry, I purchased into XRP. I bought in, and when I bought in at those lows, that reduced my average entry price as a whole. And so I've reduced my average entry over the course of the last year to approximately 24.6 cents, around 25 cents essentially. So I'm just barely positive here at 26 cents, but I'm still at a net gain over the average person in XRP because I've continually bought the dips instead of buying once and sitting around hoping and praying that the price returns to whatever I entered at. So the reason why I'm doing this more so is because I want my multiplier when the bull run does begin to be as high as possible. And the only way for my multiplier to be higher than it is right now is for me to take advantage of the price at lows such as we see now. So this is again a call to action to anybody who actually wants to see the price increase to once again join the Telegram group here, which is, I'll pop the link up here for you. It's the t.me/XRPDCA club. And you can join the club and just share your insight, your sentiment with how much you'd like to start averaging in on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis to help limit the circulating supply of XRP so that we as a community can first off remove the whales who are suppressing the price by buying them out of the market, and secondly to derail the trading algorithms which are suppressing the price, because as most people know, most trading that occurs within cryptocurrencies is done by bots, and so they're only able to trade the patterns which are being displayed before them. As humans, we can disrupt those patterns by buying whenever a bearish pattern forms. This is how you long a market in a way that successfully causes a long-term trend to shift from bearish to bullish. And once that trend shift occurs, the algorithms will have to be adapted to trading in a bullish market. This creates a positive feedback loop, which will inevitably drive the price up. Now, I'm not saying in this video that, since I've done a fair few videos recently about XRP's price going to 1,000, 10,000, so on and so forth, I don't expect that we as retail investors would ever be able to buy up enough XRP to really drive it to those kind of figures. I think that requires institutional investment, but I do think that if there was a concerted effort within the XRP community as a whole, with even 10% of XRP investors, 1 out of every 10 people, dedicating themselves to this practice, that the price would not be able to stay low because we would limit the supply to such an extent over the course of a 6-month to year period that the price would be forced to appreciate. Now, obviously, the more the price appreciates, the harder it would be for us, that 1 in 10 group, to be able to cause the price to go up significantly with just an entry of, say, again, maybe $50 a week or $50 every other week. However, it would still cause, as I said before, a shift in how the algorithms are observing the market. So the idea is simple. don't buy when the price is going up. Buy when the price is going down. And if we as a community dedicate to this practice, to buying every week when we see the price going down, if you haven't bought this week and you see the price going down, like right now, technically speaking, the price is going down. We had this nice run up to 26.6 cents yesterday, but now we're down to 26 even, and we even tickled down to 25.8. This is a moment where we as individuals who are dollar cost averaging on a weekly would want to consider buying in. Now maybe you want to wait a day to see if you can put a buy order in around the 25.5 cent even, because that seems to be a support range for us. You can put that buy in order there. The practice is, though, that we are buying the dips consistently. The more consistent and the larger the community effort to buy the dips, the more pronounced the effect on the market will be. Thus, the more rapidly we will see the price appreciate. In a sense, this is how pump and dumps work. But instead of intentionally pumping the price, we would just be preventing the dump. And so it's kind of the inverse, right? The algorithms are dumping into our pump, which will cause the price to mature. It's really that simple when you look at the supply and demand side of the equation. The issue, again, as I said at the beginning, it's kind of pie in the sky to expect everybody to do this. But again, all we need is an average of 1 in 10 XRP investors to dedicate to this. And guess what? Those 1 in 10 become the ultimate successors of this practice, because as we buy the dip, our value is going to mature. And so we're going to create a self-fulfilling prophecy if we can, as a community, agree to do this. And so that's why I'm making this video, why I created this Telegram group, and why I shared this tweet last night about setting this group up and trying to create this. So if you feel that this is a clever idea, and you actually agree with the underlying logic that I'm presenting here, by all means. If you're not already, come follow me on Twitter, join the Telegram group, and let's talk about how we are going to force this particular asset to make us all rich, right? It's that simple. In theory, right? We'll see if it works out in practice, or if this this idea even catches on. I'm skeptical that a lot of people will adopt this mentality, because it requires individuals to have a more long-term mindset towards the market. And obviously, anybody who understands human psychology understands the vast majority of people are programmed, essentially, to be short-sighted and to seek out immediate short-term gratification. But to those of us out here who are looking for long-term gains and compounding interests, maybe this will interest them, and maybe, just maybe, there's enough of us in this community who can rally behind this kind of a mentality to cause the price to change, or cause the trend to change. And when that trend changes, we're going to see feedback loops play into this that will make it easier for us as individuals to accrue, while at the same time reducing the ability for any one major player, any one major whale in the market, to cause a depreciation of value. Essentially, this is me creating a call to action saying, let's reduce the risk of any one individual in this ecosystem being able to cause a dramatic depreciation of value by selling their massive bags. If we buy them out of their massive bags as they try and dump, first off, they're not going to be able to enter the market at a better price. Therefore, there's no incentive for that individual to sell to try and push the price lower. Instead, those individuals will begin to change their mindset to adopt our mindset, because the masses, the larger community at whole, is intentionally for all intents and purposes, screwing the whales who want the price to be suppressed so that they can accrue more. So I say we give the finger to the extremely affluent people in this network who are trying to ensure that only they get to appreciate the wealth that has been provided to them through this network, and simultaneously attract new investors to this asset through our efforts to limit the supply while also providing an increased consistent demand for more and more XRP without any intention of us trading, but instead investing for a date in the future. We'll say 2023, right? Now, again, this is not a pump and dump scheme that I'm trying to set up, so that's why I'm not setting an exact date or trying to say where we're going to push the price to, or even say that we should all just be buying on a certain set date. Instead, I am encouraging everybody to dollar cost average. Everyone, the more people in the XRP community who dollar cost average, the faster we will see the price appreciate. Whether Ripple Labs is successful in getting banks to adopt XRP or not, we will limit the supply, increase demand, and simultaneously cause the devaluation of whatever currencies we are choosing to inject into this ecosystem. Now, again, once again, I do admit this is obviously pie in the sky, so I'd love to see it happen, but I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be saying that I've flown over the cuckoo's nest, but I'm admitting outright, I get that this is unlikely, but I would still like to encourage the community to adopt this mentality. And I truly believe that regardless of whether 1 in 10 XRP investors choose to adopt this mentality, we're obviously going to be wildly successful in the future simply due to R3 and Ripple's efforts to increase institutional adoption of XRP. My hope is simply that we as a community can accrue enough XRP while the price is low that we can limit the supply to such a degree that when the institutional investors get in, a price point of $10,000 will seem conservative, right? So with that said, I hope you all have enjoyed this little speculative theory video on how we as retail investors, active XRP investors, can force the appreciation of the asset which we all believe so deeply in, right? So thank you all for tuning in, as always, to the Martian Report. If you're new, please hit that subscribe and ring that bell so you can stay up to date with all my newest content. And as always, if you enjoyed the content, please hit the like. If you didn't, leave a comment in the comment section below telling me how much you hate me and how much of a terrible idea this is and how I'm trying to scam everybody into buying a worthless asset or whatever your opinion is because you don't like XRP. We know who you are in the comments. Many of you are very obvious since you can have spent months of your life hating on a currency that you don't apparently even invest in. It's really strange. I really wonder if some of those people are bots. But at any rate, thank you once again for everybody tuning in, and I can't wait to see you all in my next video. As always, on Mars.